Welcome to Patrick's Models and Transport, and hello. I said it the other way around today. Right, so here we are with the chassis of the Piko BR64 locomotive. So we're actually going to clean all the gears tonight. Excuse me. Spot of water. Better get going. That was really disgusting tap water. It tastes of chlorine. Ah, what fun. Okay, so we're going to have a good look. Let's see how the picture is in this video. If we've got good light. Everything, all systems seem to be quite nice. Okay, perfect. Right. If we need any extra light, we'll put the filling in light. So we're among the last videos now with single take videos with a phone, because I've ordered a battery for my old digital camera, and I'm actually going to be making better quality videos shortly. So I'll be making something a bit more organic. Okay, very well. So tonight we're going to have a look at this. So first of all, turn it upside down in the cradle, and we'll take the base plate off. I have marked the base plate. The base plate could be fitted either direction, but I always prefer to refit things in the same way they've been all their life. So I'll just take it out. I just put a wee arrow up there so that we know what way it fits in. So this just comes off. Nice locomotives, they're all metal. Okay, there we go. That's out. There's the base plate. It's got some traces of ancient oil on, some traces of old ancient grease as well. Let's see if you can see that. Yep, you can see here there's some traces of very old, nasty, gunked up grease. So we'll be cleaning this here with some lighter fluid. Just put a nice piece of paper here, scrap paper, so that we don't make a mess of the mat. Okay, that goes there. The gears are absolutely bone dry. Bone dry. These have not seen any grease on them for a long time. The good news is that there aren't even traces of grease on these, so that's nice. So let's have a look at them together. A bit of a stronger light, and show you the gears are completely dry. No traces of grease, no traces of wear either. Sometimes they say, you don't really need to lubricate nylon gears. No, gears have to have a very light lubrication, but they must be lubricated, because otherwise then things go dry and things wear out. There is a theory that the Lima G motor or pancake motor, the nylon gears don't need to be lubricated. No, the nylon gears need a light lubrication with some technical petroleum jelly grease, which makes them run smoother and protects them from wear. So here we can see that this Piko gear system absolutely over-engineered. Each wheel is driven, but on the other side it's noisy. Yes, these are noisy locomotives, but they've lubricated properly and maintained correctly. They're not that noisy, and the noise can be kept down, and they are very controllable. These are very controllable locomotives, very good. They're a pleasure to drive. Okay, so what we'll have to do here, we're going to have to put a spot of oil where the gears are set into the chassis. You might not want to see my extra light. I think I'll just leave it plugged in up there. We have some extra light. Let's see. Perfect. Wonderful. That's it. It can integrate the lamp. So what we're going to have to do, we'll have to put a spot of oil in the gear axles that are set into the chassis, which are metal, by the way. There's metal axles where the gears are set. I'm talking about the drive gears, not the gears on the axles, which are metal themselves. So I have to put a spot of oil there, and I'll have to put some technical petroleum jelly on the actual gears. But before doing any of that, we'll have to put the base plate back on, because we're going to have to clean the main drive gear, the one that engages with the worm drive. So we're not going to do this now. I don't want the whole wheel set falling out, apart from the fact that it doesn't, because it's all sprung in and everything, but we won't do that. We'll just pop that back on for the moment. That will just sit back in place, and we'll just go and clean the main drive gear with some lighter fluid. Okay, so we'll just turn this boy around, trying not to touch any electrical contacts with hands and things, and we'll give that a good clean. So when we do that, oops, that's my moving the camera out the rods. So we'll just put it on top of this bit of paper to absorb any excess lighter fluids, and we'll get going with a brush. So lighter fluid might be enough for the job. I think I'll take the second one down as well. Okay, my little vessel for the lighter fluid, and the tool I use to open the petrol fluid. Okay, here we are, Zippo petrol fluid, and we'll just pop it in here so that you see what I'm doing. Okay, we're going to be using some of that, so we'd better get going. Okay, right, I will now get a pair of extra glasses and see about getting this disgusting, gunked on, it looks white grease, probably lithium grease has been put in here. Not the best in my opinion, because it gunks up, it's not good. We'll use an old scruffy paintbrush. This is from an Airfix kit that came with paint on it. Paint's included. First model kit I made in over 30 years. Okay, so now we'll go here, and you can see that the lighter fluid is already dissolving the nasty old grease that's here. I'll probably have to, and you can just turn the wheel set round. I'm keeping my eye on the phone, on the telephone, to see that I'm not going out of viewfinder, because I don't want. So I just go here, this brush, and I lightly dab the gear in lighter fluid to get rid of all the nasty old grease. Lighter fluid is not aggressive with other electrical components. Here there's the Bakelite strip. It doesn't damage plastics or anything. So this was really very, very dirty. And even inside the chassis members were dirty. There you go. Ooh, what rubbish. What rubbish. Disgusting stuff. So let's see how things are here. I'm getting myself an extra bit of light here to see what I'm doing. Okay. There's a whole lot of nasty old grease. Grease has just been dumped in here. Lighter fluid gets rid of any nasty grease quickly. Trying to get it clean. Clean that up. No, luckily it didn't have this nasty lithium grease plastered all over the rest of the gears, the drive gears, so only on the main gear. It's the same kind of gunky muck that the worm drive was plastered in. And the lighter fluid made short work of that. Okay, so now we'll get the cotton bud and just go in here and dab that and make sure we get rid of all that. But being careful not to leave strands of cotton on the gear. In fact, we'll actually use a toothpick now to see if there's any more stuff stuck in here, but the lighter fluid seems to have done a good job. In fact, I think the best thing to do here is not to complicate our lives with cotton buds. The cotton buds can lose strands of cotton in here, and we don't want any of that in the drive gear. See, it's much cleaner now. And there you go. I don't know what you can see because the light's pointing the other way. There we go. Now you probably see better. Okay, right. Bottom that back up there so that we have extra light. Okay, we'll give it another spot of lighter fluid just to get rid of what's left in here. Okay. That seems to be acceptable. Okay, let me use this light to see. Oh, it's okay. I'm going to use some kitchen paper to absorb the dissolved grease and lighter fluids out of the gears of this main gear. Let's see if we can get that out of there just by running it. We want to have that nice and clean and get rid of any traces of rubbish that's on here. Dab it clean. That seems to be okay. We'll use some of this as well. That seems better than what it was. There's a bit of dried nasty old grease there. I'll get rid of that. Trying to get everything out of here, not to have any traces of old grease, because we don't want any of that. Okay, so that seems to be alright. So of course you can even dismantle the whole chassis. This all opens up. If I wanted, I could just dismantle the whole lot, but it doesn't need to be dismantled completely. So if something doesn't have to be done, why do it? This is my philosophy. There's no point in taking it completely to bits. It's perfectly okay. It just needs a good clean, and that's us. Okay, so now that we've cleaned the main gear, we'll turn it upside down, put it in the cradle, and we'll go and take the base plate off and see what dirt we have on, if there's any dirt on the, of course now there are traces of, there are traces of old lubricant oil. We're going to have to, yes, these need cleaning as well. Now that I've started dissolving some of the dirt, we can easily see that all of these are needing attention. There's traces of grease because of course the grease that was on that main drive has cascaded all over the place. There's traces of revolting ancient grease in there. Let's get rid of that for a start. It's gone. Closer to camera. And I'm cleaning in the gears to make sure everything dissolves. Here there's some other ancient oil there as well. Just clean that with a cotton bud. Get rid of that, get rid of that. See that it's dirty and oxidised. Okay, let's see what we managed to, if there's any other rubbish in here. Just turn the wheels around. It's very important to remove any traces of old grease before applying new grease, and we don't want the thing getting gunked up and then not working properly. Oops, that's pulling out of. You have to be careful because the wheels are sprung against the pickups, and so we don't want them coming out. And in this case here, we have to be careful if they come out of the axle boxes, because of course each wheel is geared. Each wheel has got gears on, so I would go and probably alter the quartering of the wheels. So I don't want anything coming out of position. So in fact, I'm having a look at these to make sure that the quartering hasn't got altered. No, it's okay. If you alter the quartering in this on this kind of locomotive, then it's a problem to get it back in line. It's okay. Okay, perfect, that's fine. Right. Okay. Now, see what else is left here. Finish cleaning things. Clean the axles. Probably the axles might have had some lubricant on. So what I'll do here, I'll put technical petroleum jelly on the axle bearings and on the gears in small quantities, not too much, because we don't want to over lubricate the machine, but we don't want it running dry, and that will also really make the locomotive run very, very smoothly. Another thing we're going to do, seeing we've got lighter fluid, we're going to have a look at the pickups, because the pickups on this locomotive are very, very oxidised, to the point where all the gearing and connection rods, linkage, everything needs lubricated here. Everything needs lubricated. Okay, let's see what else is needing cleaned. Just turn that around gently. A bit boring, this part of the job. We'll put background music. In the meantime, I'll tell you what I bought. I bought 14,400 small acrylic diamonds. What am I going to do with 14,400 small acrylic diamonds? These are 3mm in diameter, and they are the same diameter of the acrylic diamonds that are used for the lights on Piko locomotives. Not this one. This one's actually got bulbs. And I'm going to make some small lanterns for example, I've got the big F Brown 231 C60 locomotive. I'd been thinking maybe to put a light bulb in there or whatever. There's a big weight at the front. I don't really want to add cables to a locomotive that was born without cables and without wires inside, not cables. So I've decided I'm going to fit these to the lights, so that way we'll have very nice true to life shiny headlamps that don't need electricity. And so bought these on Amazon for €6, 14,400. I'll have to make a lot of lanterns and other things. So and also some lanterns for the 060 Boer 030T locomotives. Sort of something you can fit in the front, very, very small. I'll base them on photographs of the real thing. So I bought them for modelling jobs, and we'll look when I do them. We'll see them together, because this is not channel dedicated only to model trains. It's also a channel dedicated to modelling on the whole, and making things. And but for the moment we've concentrated on trains because that's one of my main modelling hobbies. And so we're going to be, once we finish this big maintenance job, we will have a running session shortly because we'll have to test run this locomotive. Cleaning the wheelbase now, same technique, just wetting it with a brush, melting the nasty grease and getting a cotton bud and cleaning it all off and polishing it all up with a cotton bud. There we go. Get rid of the dirt and gunk and grease and rubbish that's on here. Also because then this will have its own grease on it for the, even here there's all sorts of mank here. This has had some very nasty old oil poured in it, but brown, absolutely filthy. There we go, turn that round. Good clean, even here is full of oil. This was lubricated maybe 30 years ago, and then as I've been theorizing, it's probably been lying around in a damp cellar for a long time. Look at that brown grease. It's absolutely disgusting. I wonder if that's grease at the bottom of it too, or glue of some kind. This is like a trace of glue. I'm busy rubbing my own arrow off it, but we can always redo that, that's not a problem. Made a wee arrow to show the front and back, but that doesn't really matter. I'll make another arrow on it. I know what side we're at. Let's see if we can get this trace of, yes, we got the glue off it. The glue melted with the lighter fluid. Let's give it another clean. There we go, that's clean. Okay, that's nice and clean as well. And we've cleaned that. So as I was saying, we'll be having a running session with this locomotive, and because I'll take the board out. When I do take the board out, I'll be doing more filming, and we'll also see another surprise. I'm not telling you anything, but I think it'll be quite an interesting video, and I'll maybe do a running session with some other locomotives that you've not seen yet. I've got at least another two you've not seen, or three, four. I don't remember. I have to think. Anyway, so we'll see some locomotives, we'll see some stock, some different things. And now I want to make sure this goes back on the way I want it, so we're going to make a wee arrow here, and this will tell us that we have to go this way. There we go, perfect. Pencil saves the day. Okay, this is dry, and now we'll get another cotton bud, and we'll dry the gears that we've cleaned in the meantime. 20, okay, we're going on. There's some other very dirty traces of grease here. Here there's traces of dried on, very old, nasty oil, brown stuff here. Now the BR65, the green one, was much cleaner, and this is really, probably it was used more, it was lubricated, storage was not great, and you can even see that they run more because the brushes are more worn down compared to, and even a commutator compared to the. Got all the photographs of the maintenance of the BR75, the green one, the one that was Saxon Railways, and then it was handed over to the French État state lines after the armistice of the 11th of November 1918 as war reparation. locomotive. That locomotive it was used much less because it got jammed, and I had a good look at the two locomotives, the chassis of both of them. The other one has got a collar between the motor and the gears, and the main gear. The bottom drive engage is the main gear, because it's a longer chassis. Even the chassis is slightly longer, because the whole locomotive is slightly longer and the cab's in a different position. So they had to extend the chassis. The motor is positioned where the cab is, because the motor is in the cab, and so the chassis is identical up to here, and then it gets a bit longer. But we'll see that when we compare the locomotives side by side, once we get this one here reassembled. So I'm sort of anticipating things and chatting away. Okay, right, we've done that. Now we're going to let's see if everything looks decent. I think we're going to have to pick some things out here. There's some traces of dirt. I don't often get a loco in such bad state. Another mechanism I had to clean thoroughly was a Bachmann Ringfield motor, which I'm not telling you what it's on, because it's a surprise. That one, somebody had used ball bearing grease on it. It had grease all over the place. Grease had even gone on the windings of the motor windings. It was black. I put it in a saucer. I put all the gearing and everything in a saucer. I dismantled. It's a motor with a split chassis layout. So I opened it all up, put the gears in a saucer, and poured lighter fluid on top of them and cleaned them with a brush. It was absolute black. The petrol fluid, the lighter fluid was black. So I have all the photos of this operation, so it'll eventually go on video when I dedicate a video to this item of rolling stock, so we'll see it. I always photograph things, so even before I was maybe posting them on Facebook and on a couple of groups, one about model trains, one about modelling in general, and I generally always photograph each step I do, because if I forget something or I forget how it was assembled, I know I have reference to go and look back on. That's very, very important. I mean, nowadays taking a picture is so simple. It's the easiest thing in the world to take a photograph, so why not do it? And this way I have an archive of all the jobs I've done, and I can then use this archive to create videos, putting stills in the videos. So that's where we've got a lot of archive footage and stills that we can exploit for videos. And so I can show you and having stills, actually you can really see things better even just than me doing things on this thing here in a single take. Okay, so let's see if we can. Anyway, the digital camera is going to be reinstated, and so we'll actually be able to speed up some of these boring parts, but I take them as a chat. That's my idea. I'm having a chat, doing jobs and chatting about locomotives and things. Another difference between the BR64 and the BR75 is that the BR75, the weight is not a piece of lead, but a series of metal weights, like small metal plates, and that's also a difference. Okay, I think we are clean. I'd like to be, because I'm beginning to be fed up with this operation. I was expecting the gears to be, at the beginning when we began this job, I was very optimistic, saying, oh look, the gears aren't very dirty. Rubbish, the gears are filthy, spread with all sorts of rubbishy ancient lubricant. they're much better now, so I think we're okay. We are okay. Perfect. So, what we'll do now, we'll gingerly lift this out of the cradle and have a look at the state of the pickups. The pickups, as you can see, are on top of the wheels, and they touch the flanges, the tyres of the wheels, and they are really very dirty. There's all sorts of fluff and dirt here, and I'm thinking how to give them a good clean, but I don't want to take the wheel set out of the locomotive. It's one of these things I do not want to do because it doesn't come out, you see. It doesn't come out at all because it's all set in. It's not like a locomotive that has a single drive gear. You just lift it out. We'll see it with Juef locomotives. One drive gear, one drive gear. We'll be seeing one very shortly, in fact. Another Juef tank engine is on its way, and we'll be doing the maintenance because 100% it will require cleaning and lubricating. Here we can't take them out, so I'm going to have to clean these with the wheels in situ. So what we have to do now, I don't want anything falling around. I want to be able to put this upside down without any worries. We'll just pop the base plate back on, just press it in position, that way things stay put. It won't really stay much because of the, what am I doing when I put my fingers, because now it's not gunked on with nasty grease. And we'll just turn that round. I'll hold my finger and thumb, and we're going to go here with a toothpick and try and get rid of any dirt that's here. In fact, we'll use a pair of tweezers as well. Okay, you can see what I'm doing. That's important. Let's get this out of the road before we pour it all over the table. So using a pair of tweezers, I'm going here and I'm taking any rubbish away from the, there's lots of rubbish here. There you go, fluff of all types, dirt of all types, off the pickups. Let's see the other side. The thing is, it's a good quality locomotive because it was a runner, it was working. See what's here. I think it's quite okay. And now there's some fluff there. Fluff. Fluff and dirt all over the place. So, okay, I think we're okay. I think we're clean. Yep, there's still some dirt there, some lint. And good springy. Okay, perfect. Now we'll get another cotton bud, another couple of cotton buds here, and we'll just go here and start cleaning, dabbing some, in fact I think I'm just going to use a paintbrush to clean the pickups. Just using the paintbrush, we wet the pickups to give a clean, to get rid of any oxidation that's on the pickups. We just use the brush. I had been considering the fiberglass pencil to do this job, but it's not very practical because we can't take the wheel set out without dismantling the whole locomotive. It's a German design, isn't it? It has to be complicated. It's very efficient, it works very well, but it's complicated. That's German technology. That's German technology, but it's very good technology. And as my father-in-law always says, East German is still German, so. And here his first private car was a Trabant. I said it was a great car. And when Trabant users, drivers would meet one another on the roads, they always saluted. They would always give a salute. So there was this sort of ownership between Trabant owners, sort of camaraderie between owners, dated back to the days when Trabants were a very frequent car in Eastern Europe, a daily driver. Okay, right, giving them a clean. The best I can do, let's see, maybe we're having a quick look with a magnifying glass to see what state we're in. Ah, they've come quite clean. They've come clean, they're looking a bit more shiny. The pickups, I'm talking about the pickups. The pickups look definitely a little better. I'm checking with my motor car mirror to see what you can see. Maybe we might want to do a spot of filling in light. That way you can see what I'm actually doing here. A bit more light will help. Okay. Oops, let's see if I can fill that in. Okay, perfect. This way there's more light. You can see I've been cleaning. I cleaned all the pickups here. Put a brush, old paint brush with lighter fluid in it to get rid of remove the oxidation from the pickups which touch the top of the wheels. And by looking through my magnifying glass, I seem to have obtained the desired result. This one needs a wee bit of attention here. A short paintbrush with stiff bristles, so it's doing the job. And you can see the lighter fluid's not damaging the paint here because these wheels have been painted. And this is what makes me think that this is a customized locomotive, customized by the previous owner, because the wheel centers are red. In fact, even underneath, round the back, you can see that they're red plastic. But the tyres have been painted as well. And that's not factory finish. In fact, you can see some traces of red paint actually on the wheels, and I cleaned them off. I actually cleaned them off where I could. And this is a homemade customizing job to make it look prototypical, because on German locomotives, the tyres, the steel tyres of the wheels are red. The centres, the spokes, and the tyres, and then only the flange and the actual part of the tyre that comes in contact with the rails is unpainted. Okay, so that's okay. So I think we'll also do another thing. Seeing we've got the brush, we'll give the linkage a clean with lighter fluid just to melt traces of any other nasty old dirty oil. They don't seem to have had any oil on them, but give them a clean so that then we can actually put fresh oil, sewing machine oil, micro drops. I use an old paper clip to lubricate those and put just a tiny drop of I've not got myself an oiling pen yet. I'll have to get an oiling pen, but I generally just have a spot of oil in a jar, and then I go in and I put a spot on each, either on a pin, or usually I use an old bent paper clip. That does the job. So we can get rid of any traces of dirty, gunked up grease. Of course, these connection rods are not functional because each axle is driven. So it's good because they're very thin. So they're just there for decorative purposes. They don't contribute to the drive of the locomotive, unlike other models where the connection rods, the linkage actually does, because there's only one drive gear. Okay, so I think we can call it a day, and say that we've done our job. And even all the linkage, everything is weathered and dirty, and it looks like an in-service look. Even here on the pistons, you see, on the cylinders, there's weathering. This is a beautifully weathered locomotive. I'd really like to know the history of this, but I think we'll only have to imagine it and wait and imagine it that's what we have to do. So I'm giving, even if we wouldn't really need to, but I'm just giving the pickup copper a bit of a clean. I'm giving them a wee polish with a clean and polish with some of the dirt that's coming off. I could have even cleaned these with a fiberglass pencil, but there's no point in getting strands of fiberglass all over the place. Important thing is that they come in contact with the wheels and they do their job. And the locomotive was working. The locomotive was a functional locomotive, so it just needs a bit of a clean up. See the dirt that's coming off of there? It's fantastic. I think we'll wet them with another spot of lighter fluid to get rid of the dirt. There we are. They're already shiny up. That's good. Turn it around. Let's do the other one. Do it better. Same thing here. Okay, and I'm actually rubbing them with a brush so that I get rid of the dirt. Okay, perfect. That's much better. I'm actually getting a nice coppery shine on them. Okay, very good. I'd say that's been done. That's okay. That's fine. Okay, very well. So we've done that, and I'll just leave. I'm not going to grease anything now because I want the lighter fluid to evaporate completely, and that way we know that the locomotive is ready to be greased. So just a second. I see in the meantime I also cleaned. I'm going to give these another clean. I'm cleaning the contacts on this copper plate. These are the contact. This is one polarity of the lighting with this copper plate. And the other polarity is the chassis. So the chassis is live. One of the polarities is on the chassis. The other polarity is on this copper wire, insulated copper wire, which is insulated. And the same if we go and look at the actual locomotive here. We have this insulating plate here, and okay, so one polarity is the chassis and the other, okay, very well. Right, I think that's fine. We'll just keep it in the cradle upside down to make sure that nothing falls off. And can't remember if I wanted to go and do anything else. I think I've finished. I think so, at least for the moment. I've finished indeed. Okay, and I think I've done. I did everything I had to do. Trying to think if there's anything else to do. No, there isn't. Here's the light bulbs. I saw them the other day. Nice and clean. And let's put them away in here. We don't want things. The motor is acceptable. Here's the motor, which has been cleaned and that we did the other day, polishing the commutator, which is quite worn and scratched, but it's actually clean. It'll work. It'll work. And I carefully cleaned. I gave it another clean off camera to get rid of all the traces of brush dust that had gunked up here in the sections between the commutator plates. So this is really very clean now, and this is ready to be reassembled, of course, with a spot of lubrication on the motor bearing. So the mix of sewing machine oil and technical petroleum jelly. So we'll just pop that in this little box and take it away, put it away in here. Anyway, these are not difficult locomotives to dismantle, so if you ever come across such a locomotive, Piko, on the other side, the Piko BR, sorry, which one? BR65 instead, has a different kind of motor. And the tender locomotive, the Belgian one. And I never had to open that because it was practically brand new, and it's plastic. It has a plastic housing and everything. And I don't really know how to open it. I'm talking about the tender, the 080 tender locomotive, but it was working so well it didn't need nothing. It didn't need anything. The only thing I did on that locomotive was to open it up and give it a spot of technical petroleum jelly grease, and I put a spot of my mix of technical petroleum jelly and sewing machine oil in the motor bearings to make it run nice and silent. So if a thing works, you don't really need to take it to bits. But if you come across such locomotives, these ones with the BR64, 75 class, they're very easy locomotives to repair, to open and to do the jobs, and they're really very, very good locos, very, very entertaining. So I really like them. This one also has the front lights, so I'm very, very pleased about this. Okay, so that's that for tonight. Thank you for your attention. I hope I haven't bored you too much with my talking and chatting away. I'm definitely looking forward to using some of my 14,400 acrylic diamonds. That's something. We'll be seeing that. We'll be doing that, and the battery for the mobile, for the digital camera, is supposed to come tomorrow, so we'll actually be able to make some more sophisticated videos, including photographic stills and properly cut. Of course, I'm not. There won't be that. I don't do this as a job. I do this as a hobby, so it'll still be maybe on the rough and ready side, but not. I don't know. I'm not Steven Spielberg. Let's see. Okay, right. Getting late. So if you like the video, you can give it a like. Like is always useful. Helps the channel. Subscribe to the channel. That's also very useful. And click the notification bell so that you will always be up to date on what I'm getting up to here on the desk, or on the railway board, or with other modelling projects. I have some kits up there that I'm going to be building as soon as I get daylight again, because yes, I'm in the dark practically, because they've been doing jobs on this building where I live. They did all the cladding. We have shutters on hinges. The shutters at one point were taken off, now they've been put on again, but the scaffolding's still outside and it can't be opened. So there's about that much space, 5 centimeters or 2.5 inches, 3 inches more or less of light coming in the room. So making model kits, I can assemble model kits, no problem, but painting can be tricky if you're not in daylight. You might get the wrong shade and things like that. And but we can do other jobs like this one. This is a welly. I love British taxis, and this is a welly I bought super cheap. I can't remember the scale, but I actually looked it up once. I can't remember. The taxi light is missing at the front, so I'm going to actually rebuild that. I'm going to make it myself, looking at the blueprints, and make it out of styrene and make my own taxi badge. This is very, very dirty. It needs cleaning, but what attracted me, of course, it's a well-made toy, but the wheels are really realistic. The wheels and the whole dimension. This has been. Welly also make a very nice, much bigger model, which really is it's a beautiful FX4 Fairway, I think that they do. But this is really very nice. And the plan with this model will be to make it Glasgow style, if I can. Glasgow style includes some fine decorations here, but things that I should do with decals. I don't know if I'll manage to make them because it's quite small scale. But anyway, this will be improved with registration plates and other details to make it more realistic, including the missing taxi sign at the front, and it needs a good clean, but the interior is quite nice. It's absolutely filthy. So that's a preview of a future job, which is not railway related, so still modelling but not model trains. Okay, that's it. I've really finished this time. Cheerio, and see you next time. Ciao, ciao.